Hello to Facebook, and I also want to say hello to YouTube right now. It's Jill from PragerU Kids. Spencer's over there.
What's up, everybody? It's been a minute.
I like introducing you. I like introducing whoever's over there because I'm very grateful for the young, smart people who run this equipment so that all of us parents can be here to discuss on Facebook and YouTube what is happening in our kids' education system. Okay, today is January 17th, and it is still the new year. And we're going to talk about some positive and proactive things that we can do as parents and teachers, because we know there are millions of phenomenal teachers out there watching. If you are a teacher, say hi and leave a comment just to let us know where you're at. Tell us what state you're in if you're comfortable with doing that. But today, I am going to sit here and raise my hand because I'll ask all of you this question. Raise your hand if you've ever been branded as that crazy parent at your child's school or in your community or online, maybe on Facebook or on YouTube or on Instagram or any of our digital platforms. Raise your hand if you've ever been branded as that crazy parent for speaking your mind. If you've ever gotten your microphone turned off at a school board meeting, if you've ever been reprimanded by a local teachers union, I have. All of these things have happened to me, by the way. If you've ever been called into the principal's office, questioning why you posted something about the education system that was maybe asking, discerning questions or taking a closer look, because I've complained about our current education system, and I've complained about it a lot. I am not an educator. My sister is a credentialed educator. My mom was a credentialed educator. I am not an educator, but I am a parent, and I've criticized a lot of things that are going on in our school system now, which we all discuss. I'm exhausted by confrontation, actually. That's a fun fact for you, Spencer, because I know that many of us here are in very constant confrontation
all the time.
But it is exhausting, and I say that from the bottom of my heart for all of you watching right now. It is exhausting to continue to ask questions and to deal with confrontation all the time. And a lot of times conservatives, or I'll just say reasonably minded people for that matter, I don't even want to put us into the category of being conservative, but I want to put us into the category of being reasonable people who ask questions. Reasonable parents or teachers who ask questions are often given a bad rep of being complainers about the system or being narrow-minded or just, you don't want to do anything positive about it, but we're going to do something positive about it now. Later on, I want to share with you a few, I'm going to call them, a few treats that I've brought. One is a very, very weird survey from the New Hampshire I'm not laughing because it's funny. I'm laughing because I don't know what else to do. A weird survey from the New Hampshire Department of Health and Human Services, meant for high school students. I'm going to share that survey with you. And I'm also going to share with you a wellness spot for a Southern California elementary school.
Oh, boy.
Because elementary school students have big feelings, Spencer.
Massive feelings.
And sometimes they might need to escape there. So I'm going to share with you those things. But first, I want to start with the first thing us parents can do if we are tired of all of the SEL surveys, the comprehensive and very sexualized sex ed, the DEI activities that may or may not include age inappropriate things like drag queen story hour. What can we do? What is the number one thing that we can do to combat this? Opt our children out. Opt our children out of the surveys. Opt our children out from being able to go to the wellness center for elementary school students if they don't want to do their math in class. Opt our children out from any DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion assemblies that might be administered to students during classroom time. Send written notification ahead of time at the beginning of the year, the school year, or at the beginning of the new year, at the beginning of 2023, right now. Send a written email to school officials and district officials, just very Jill Simonian, parent of such and so child, opt my child out of participating in any social emotional learning surveys that may or that are planned to be administered in class. Just send one-liners to opt them out preemptively of all of these surveys. And some of you might be saying, well, that's a little dramatic, but we have the right to do this as parents from our children's ages of kindergarten through 12th grade, because guess what? Our kids are minors. And just to sort of drive home as to why I'm really suggesting that we opt our children out of these things preemptively is because we're not informed when these surveys happen. We're not given a heads up oftentimes that, oh, there's going to be this discussed in the classroom today under the veil of our DEI initiative that, launched at the beginning of the year. We're not given heads ups. We're not given heads up. So opt our children out preemptively. And I want to show you an example of one of these types of social emotional learning surveys. And a lot of times, and we can bring this up on the screen right now, a lot of times I use the example from California. I use examples from California because I am a California mom. And we always like to say we fight from the belly of the beast here at PragerU and at PragerU Kids. We like to fight in the thick of everything. And I often use California examples, but California is arguably one of the worst in education systems across the country. So I plucked this from New Hampshire. Just, it's completely across the country, very far away from California. So let's see what the New Hampshire Department of Health and Human Services is administering these days on a volunteer basis. I will say that. So, this is a volunteer basis. I want to be very transparent. But this is from the DHHS.nh.gov. This is a survey that one of our parents sent to me, I believe from our PragerU Resources for Educators and Parents group, our PrEP group, which is a discussion group. So let's just scroll down. This survey is about health behavior. It's been developed so you can tell us what you do that may affect your health. Okay, do not write your name. Yes, it's anonymous. The answers will be kept private. No one will know what you write. Answer the questions based on what you really do. This survey is voluntary. And it says something about, what did I read? That you will not be graded on this in any way.
Oh yeah, it says whether or not you answer the questions will not affect your grade in this class.
Whether or not you answer the questions will not affect your grade in this class. So this is for the intent of being administered to students in a classroom setting. And right here at the bottom, 2023 New Hampshire High School. Okay, so there we go. So let's scroll down and just take a look at these questions, and I'm just going to pluck them at random. I scrolled through this, but I'm genuinely not, this is not pre-planned. I'm looking at these questions at random with you. How old are you? Okay, so choose your age. What's on this next page? How often do you wear a seatbelt when riding in a car driven by someone else?
I would hope they say always.
I would hope they say always, right? But okay, a seatbelt question. During the past, here's number 15. There we go, I can highlight. During the past 30 days, how many times did you drive a car or other vehicle when you had been using marijuana, also called pot or weed? Okay, so they're asking this of high school students. Here's another question. During the past 12 months, how many times did anyone force you to do sexual things that you did not want to do? Count such things as kissing, touching, or being physically forced to have sexual intercourse. Okay, so they're asking high schoolers this. Scroll down. Let's see, have you ever seen someone get physically attacked, beaten, stabbed, shot? All of these questions. My first instinct is that this is very invasive and age inappropriate, given there are no parents present with their child, their minor child, when their minor child might be taking this survey.
This is pretty extensive, too.
This is extensive. I'm scrolling down.
Question 31 already. There's
31. A lot. Past 12 months, did you ever seriously consider attempting suicide? I mean, these are serious questions. I'm not saying these questions don't need to be dealt with, but I'm not quite sure as a parent if the most effective way to tackle these types of questions is through a survey given in the classroom by a teacher, I mean, maybe even a substitute teacher, without discussion and just putting this in front of students. During your life, question number 57, how many times have you sniffed glue, breathed the contents of aerosol spray cans, or inhaled any paints or sprays? Okay, then there's a section about prescription medication. Let's see, I'm just scrolling.
Methamphetamine was on there too. I mean, imagine you're, what?
It was?
Yeah, methamphetamine. It was question.
Oh, you're a fast reader. Oh, yeah, there we go.
Somewhere about there. Yeah. But that's a pretty bold question to ask a 12-year-old.
Yeah, well, it is high school, I do want to say.
True.
So maybe like 14.
That's
but
true.
still. Okay. All right, then it's asking more about contraception, sexual intercourse. They're asking about concussions now, physical activity. How many questions are we down? I'm literally
We're at
scrolling.
100.
If you wanted to get, here's 98. If you wanted to get some alcohol, how easy would it be for you to get some? So this is the end of the survey after question number 103.
That's quite a lot.
Parental questions. I'm being inquisitive. How long do you suppose it takes students to fill out a survey with 103 questions? That's using classroom time.
That's a long time. 100, and also people are gonna, some are gonna finish earlier, some are gonna take their time. 103 questions. Imagine everyone took 1 minute, let's say, on every question. That's not normally the case, but let's say everyone took 1 minute. That's a lot of time.
That's over an hour.
Almost closer to 2 hours, and that's concerning.
Yes. It's over an hour. So over an hour for this voluntary survey. But if you're a child, even in high school, and you are in a classroom and you know that your grades depend on things, and a teacher, a person of authority, hands this to you and says, well, it's voluntary. As a minor, I'm thinking of my own children. They're in elementary school now, but my children, I am raising them to have a general respect for authority, right? In classroom, you have a respect for your teachers. You have a respect for authority. You have a respect for doing what is asked of you as a child from a school official. So you think any kid is really going to say it says, oh, your grade doesn't depend on this, but children are not going to really understand, oh, my grade won't be affected. This has nothing to do.
Also,
it doesn't matter if I fill this out. They're going to be intimidated to fill this out.
100%. But another key point here is who is looking at the results of this? Is it
Nobody knows.
Is it the Department of Health and Human and Health Services, who's creating the survey, or is it the teachers themselves? We don't know.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to give them the benefit of the doubt here. Hopefully with the intentions of helping those children, deal with some issues if they have some issues going on in their lives. But we don't know exactly where these results are going and what is happening to them. And it says they're not going to use their name or their grade or whatever, but let's say they contemplated suicide. That is a very serious thing.
No, that's real. And that's real. And we're not trying to diminish that.
No, absolutely not. Or the drugs part, the alcohol part. It's like, I'm curious because they want to probably intervene if there's something serious going on. Who is the person looking at this stuff? And I'm not saying we shouldn't deal with any of these things, but it's who is. The question of who.
Yeah, and it's a question of who. But the irony is that this whole survey is anonymous.
Exactly.
So you're getting these results, and who's to say, I mean, you're talking about teenagers here, who's to say that the teenager didn't get into a huge argument with her mom that morning because the mom said, no, you can't go to the party Friday night, or something like that, things that happen in teenage households, and the teenager starts gets to the section of the questionnaire, have you ever felt unsafe in your own home? Have you ever been abused in your own home? Maybe that teenager is in a really bad mood and very spontaneously marks yes, because she's mad at the argument that maybe happened with her mother that morning. It's like you can't do these things anonymously with broad strokes, deliver it to all kids, collect this data, which you don't know where it's going or what it's used for.
But imagine you find out the results, or there are people doing a lot of narcotics or what X, Y, and Z that is listed on there. But it's anonymous. So how are you supposed to help these people if it's anonymous? Let's say that you don't even put your name on it because for the intents and purposes of this exercise, it's anonymous. How are they going to be able to help that individual who is going through something?
Nobody knows.
We don't know.
But this is what is taking place in our classrooms. Surveys, and all of this is under this veil of social emotional learning for the wellness of the child. We're doing this to take care of you. Yet you have so that's why I say a positive thing we can do as parents is just I'm going to go like this. There, can you hear that? Wash your hands of it. Opt our kids out of these surveys preemptively, saying my child will not be taking any of these surveys. I don't care what surveys are coming down the pike. I don't care to see them. I'm not interested. It is not relevant to my child's academic education. Done. And we're done. It's a positive thing we can do. It doesn't affect anyone else, but you are taking control of your child's education. Let's go now to a local Southern California elementary school. I am familiar, full disclosure, with which elementary school this is. And it is what you're looking at now is a picture of something called The Spot. This is called The Spot, and this is for a Southern California elementary school in a very well-to-do Southern California community. This elementary school is for children kindergarten through 6th grade. I will tell you from verifiable personal knowledge that this particular elementary school is exempt, very thankfully exempt from many of the very serious problems that unfortunately happen in other elementary schools. There are no children at this elementary school who are going hungry, okay?
That's a good thing.
Every student at this elementary school has a home. They have a roof over their heads. They have safety. They have a family that they are, with. They live with their families. Okay,
these are all good things. Yeah.
So these are all wonderful things. Yet at this particular elementary school, La Cañada Elementary School, this wellness room called The Spot is a brand new place where if children are experiencing big feelings, and that is a quote from notification that has been sent around to parents. If children are experiencing big feelings, they can, during class time, they can raise their hand and request to visit The Spot. And this spot has, a wonderful cushy chair. It looks like a little bed right over there, a little tree house. There's a lamp. Let's see. Look at this. There's a rug. There's stuffed animals. There's bins. Let's go to the third play. Oh, look, there's a swing. Spencer, there's a swing.
I mean, I wish we had a swing in our office.
This is a playroom.
It is.
So a playroom has taken funding. I don't believe this funding is from the state by any means, but parents, teachers, community members, I don't know exactly where the funding came from for this particular playroom to exist at this elementary school for students to escape to during the day should they be experiencing a big feeling in the classroom. But this is available for any and all days, to my understanding. I may be mistaken, but to my understanding.
It doesn't look much like a classroom situation.
No, this isn't a classroom situation.
Exactly, and that's the thing is if it's at a school, that's even more of a bizarre thing to me. You should have classrooms. And someone even put in here in the comments, fire safety. It is a fire hazard. Just looking at all the carpet and fabrics.
I'm not laughing. That's a serious question.
But why is the question?
So it's there because this particular school district, La Cañada School District, along with hundreds and hundreds of school districts across the country, are now replacing academic knowledge-based education with social emotional learning initiatives. And what they're trying to do is put this whole child wellness approach at school. And what happens in reality is that academics take a back seat. Because here's your scenario for you. And all of us parents know this. A child is sitting in a classroom. You're given the math assignment. Maybe one child isn't particularly fond of math, or math is not his or her forte. They start working on the problem. They have trouble coping. I don't know how to do this. Yeah. I'm frustrated. This is challenging. I don't know what to do. Teacher, I'm experiencing a big feeling. Can I go to The Spot? Oh, why, yes, you may go to The Spot because that is available for us. And the teacher then sends the kid to The Spot so that they are not required to develop any sort of resilience or perseverance in learning what they are charged to do as a student in a classroom. It is a cop-out, and it is garbage.
Exactly. And
it's disappointing.
And I think something else is, if I were a kid and I saw that room, I would make any excuse, not because I'm morally unsound. No, just because I was a kid who wanted to hang out in a room with stuffed animals and toys and couches and whatever. Of course, I'm going to do whatever I can to hang out in there as much as possible and not the wooden chair I'm sitting on or the plastic chair I'm sitting on in my classroom.
Yeah. And here's the thing. The spot was a success. I'm reading this on the website now. So at this date, this is from October. You could see all the candy corns. As of this date, we have opt-in notices for 561 of our students and opt-out or no response for 59 of our students. So the 59 parents that opted their children out of being able to attend this spot, I'm going to applaud you for putting education first. But the most concerning thing about this in what I'm reading here on the website, which is admittedly a few months old now, but these were where the pictures were of the spot, and I wanted to show you what is happening at, what is starting to, a new trend at elementary schools now, is 561 of our students' parents opted their kids in to say, oh yeah, they can go to this spot, absolutely. How's that for quiet quitting on your kids? Right? Anyways, okay, so my point is opt out of all of these SEL things that happen at schools preemptively. Number two, what you can do to get ahead, to reject all of the woke stuff that's happening in schools that might not, be aligned with your values, is to donate good books. A lot of people, we've gotten a lot of flack for I would say value-minded and reasonably minded parents who want explicit materials out of their kids' libraries because they say it's not age appropriate. A lot of people will shout, "Oh, they're banning books! They're banning books! They're banning books!" No, we're not banning books. What we want are explicit materials out of the libraries. And so, a way to sort of flip the script on that, like I said, to sort of be positive and be proactive about things we can do instead of just complaining, is we can donate books.
Absolutely.
Have you ever heard of a school, if you donate a book, they certainly seem to take all sorts of books from everyone, if they're explicit or not explicit. So it is up to us, and we can be responsible for donating positive books that do align with virtue and our values. Many schools don't read C.S. Lewis anymore. No. They don't read Laura Ingalls Wilder, all the Little House on the Prairie series. They don't read these classic literature books that actually require children to flex their brains.
Absolutely.
And stretch their brains. So we've got books, and even for like the kindergartners, we've got books. Look.
Yeah,
PragerU Kids.
Yesterday was Martin Luther King Jr.
Martin
Day.
Luther King Jr. Day. This is a historical book, but it's very visually appealing and entertaining, but these are books based on our values. Next one up is President's Day. Yep. This is our book series from last year. We've got Flag Day. We've got September 11th. Yes, this is age appropriate. There's nothing in here it's very age appropriate about how America united and came together after something very difficult that happened in our country. And Father's Day. These are just a few. We have these books, and we do not, I want to say, we are a nonprofit, PragerU Kids. We don't make money on these books. No. I want to be very clear about that. We do not make money on these books. We produce these books as companion pieces to our Storytime videos on our website that are all free. But these books are things that can be in libraries to counteract the books that shouldn't be there, and to enable us to positively contribute something rather than just complaining, right? Okay, number three, third thing we can do is file a FOIA request. Pop quiz, Spencer, what is FOIA? I'm just kidding if you don't know. I'm going to tell you.
You put me on the spot
Freedom.
here.
I know. It's okay. Freedom of Information Act. The Freedom of Information Act requires the disclosure of public records upon request and is valid in all 50 states because parents, we have a right that is protected by law to know what is going on inside of our classrooms. We have a right also to know and to be informed about communications between teachers and administrators because these are public institutions and it's on our taxpayer dime. So if there is something that has happened at your school or something that you foresee happening at your school, maybe there is a transgender education assembly or curriculum that is making its way into your elementary school or junior high, and you don't think that's age appropriate, you can file a FOIA request to the federal government, basically, and request that your school provide disclosure about the communications, emails, and the business that was conducted between the organization that you think is questionable coming into your school. And we have this resource guide on our website for free. It is our Parent Action Guide. If you go to PragerU.com and you click resources, you can find our Parent Action Guides. And it walks you through how to file a FOIA. It's free. It gives you do's and do nots. Will you be successful in obtaining all the information you want from your school district the first time? Maybe, maybe not. But this gives you guidelines that we have on our website for parents and teachers, for that matter, to request information for full transparency. And that's not unreasonable to ask for. We have the guide for you to get you started. Okay. Any questions or comments that we can share anyways?
We're getting a lot of comments just about...
Really? We've gone actually a long time. Ooh, we were long. I was long-winded today.
You were long-winded. That's okay. We've had a bunch of comments come in just about homeschooling your children, how everyone seems to agree in the comments that homeschool is a very great and viable option for, you know, getting your kids outside of this kind of indoctrination world. And, you know, homeschool might not be the right path for some. Public school might be not the right path, might be whatever. So you don't know. You have to do it for per family, per child, and really take that into account. But we're seeing a lot of comments about that.
A lot of people, I mean, the homeschool movement has grown exponentially the past few years since the lockdowns, right? And I have the utmost respect for homeschool parents. Prior to starting to work here for PragerU Kids and really get into the weeds of what is happening in our education system, I really didn't understand homeschooling. But now I understand the whys and I understand the value of it. And I applaud all of you who homeschool. And just as, you know, we don't, PragerU Kids has enrichment material and supplemental material for anyone who homeschools, but our material is really also made and tailored to fill in the gaps of where our public and private institutions are lacking in educating our children. Public and private schools don't teach the classic education that many homeschoolers do. Public and private schools put an emphasis on DEI and SEL and teaching about, you know, victim versus oppressor. And they've replaced knowledge-based core knowledge that we should be teaching our children: history, values, virtue. The private and public schools have replaced all of that with all of this political stuff. And I will show you something that if your child is in public, and that was a great segue, because that's my number 4 thing that we can do as parents, is to teach knowledge at home. Even if you're not a homeschooler, you can teach knowledge at home. I am not a homeschooler, but I teach knowledge at home. And I do it by way of, first of all, talking with my children constantly, talking in the car, talking at breakfast, talking when I'm dropping them off at school, you know, just really connecting with them and asking questions. But I teach knowledge through, and this is for real, through our PragerU Kids resources that we have on our website for free at PragerUKids.com. If you subscribe, you can get them all in your inbox every single week, all the latest episodes and all the latest offerings. But I am not an expert on George Washington, but guess what I'm going to show my kids? And this is our latest game show. This is one of the samplings that we offer for kids who are in public school, because not everyone can afford to get their kids out of public school by any means, and not everyone can homeschool. But these are some of the things that we have, and this is our latest game show, Guess or Mess, to educate kids in a fun way that they're going to be entertained by. Okay, should I press play?
Go for it.
I'll give you a sample. Here we go. This is our latest episode of Guess or Mess about George Washington.
Now back to George Washington. The next question is for Bethany. In 1787, Washington wrote, "There is not a man living who wishes more sincerely than I do to see a plan adopted for the abolition of what? A, kings, B, slavery, or C, wars? By his estate, and the young would be given an opportunity to read, write, and learn an occupation. African-American activist Frederick Douglass later praised Washington as the founder who, quote, could not die till he had broken the chains of his slaves. Sophia, the next message for you. At least you can see it this time. Then again, you still can't see it because it's a mystery egg. Do you think it's a real egg?
It's filled with slime and bugs.
I think it is slimy bugs. We'll see.
Confetti. Confetti, I'm praying. Confetti.
Oh, you're lucky it is confetti.
Okay.
This one.
All right. Can you guys all hear me? Can they hear me now?
Yes, they can.
Okay, so I let you watch a clip, and that is Xavier, and we adore him, and he is our host for Guess or Mess, our game show, and this game show is for 3rd through 5th graders, but pretty much any child of any age can watch it. It's a game show about I brought it, based on our digital, well, this is not a digital magazine. We have digital magazines free on our website, but we also make hard copies of our magazines. And these are biographical magazines that we make at PragerU Kids. Gorgeous. I mean, this is the history of George Washington. This is the knowledge-based academics that kids should be learning. And so what we do here at PragerU Kids is to take these classic academic lessons that every child in America should know about, whether it's a biography about George Washington, whether it's a biography about Condoleezza Rice, whether it's about, oh my gosh, I'm blanking. We have like dozens and dozens of these.
Helen
Carnegie.
Keller, I think even. We have Helen Keller?
No, not yet. Oh, that's coming up.
Sorry.
Hasn't debuted yet.
Not out
But we
yet.
have a series on presidents. We have Women of Valor. We have Builders of America, Andrew Mellon, Carnegie, J.P. Morgan, all of these figures, and we put them in a game show, and kids get messy, and you saw all the mess in their hands, and at the end of this game show, somebody gets a pie in the face. So that's what we do. It's a fun way to educate our kids, and we like to say that we're giving them broccoli with all sorts of like cheese and cheese and butter on top so that they get the broccoli in their system, but the fun is the cheese and broccoli so that they don't realize they're learning. And everyone, all of you, if you haven't subscribed to PragerUKids.com yet, please subscribe because this is all free, and it's something positive that we can do to take back our education system without the confrontation and without being exhausted from constantly complaining all the time and being brandished, and being branded that crazy parent. Anyways, that's all I have for today. We sort of went long, but any other comments of encouragement for the new year?
People are just, we had someone in here who, Jessica on Facebook said, we homeschool and my son loves Guess or Mess. So
I'm so glad.
Really glad to hear that, Jessica.
Thank you. Thank you so much. All right, with that, we will say goodbye today, January 17th. Thank you for joining us. Next week, we will be back for another live chat, parent motivation, prep talk, as we like to call it. PragerU resources for educators and parents. That's what our parent action guide is on. That's why I said prep talk. But we're here for you. We thank you for educating your children. We thank you for standing up for what's right and for being brave to course correct all the weird things happening in our education system. Number one call to action is opt out. Take that with you. Bye, guys.